Okay, so the first episode actually dropped on Friday. Do check it out. Support me on Patreon if you're able to. I've also started an account on the Little Red Book, or Red Note as it is known to Americans. And in Chinese, I believe it is called Xiaohongshu. I'm not going to pronounce it correctly because I don't speak Mandarin Chinese. I've mostly started this account to kind of continue to be exposed to some of the American talking points, just because a lot of the comrades from TikTok have moved to this app, and I do want to kind of keep in touch. I also started a Blue Sky account, and if you want to follow me there, go ahead and do that. I don't think I'm going to be posting much on either of these just because I'm kind of shy. I don't really like advertising myself when I'm new to a certain place, and I don't really actually like to draw a lot of attention to myself. I know, hard to believe, but yeah, it's kind of awkward for me. But if you follow me, you can follow me there, and maybe we can start some kind of conversation. I don't know, you decide. But in today's video, I actually wanted to kind of use Xiaohongshu as a jumping off point to talk about internationalism a little bit more. I already talked about this before, and how I'm so grateful to have had a lot of the internationalist experiences due to the fact that I was born in the USSR. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about how when you are exposed to people of a certain land, you start viewing them concretely. And I talked about this at length in the podcast episode about how when you get to know somebody concretely, when you see them in their everyday life, when you interact with them concerning various topics, you cannot hate the person anymore. Obviously, you can choose to hate somebody due to your own ideological reasons, but it's harder and harder to hate and want to harm somebody if you get to know them concretely. So I believe it is a very amazing opportunity for many Americans to be exposed to a different culture. And I'm noticing some changes in behavior patterns. When Americans feel at home on a certain app or on a certain platform, they're going to act very confidently, which is understood. But when they're in a new place, they act much more respectfully and polite, which is great. I love that. But I wish more Americans had these kind of internationalist experiences growing up, because when you are exposed to various different peoples throughout your childhood and adolescence, this becomes a given. You perceive other people as somebody to be respected by default. You want to make a good impression on them. You don't come up to people and just say nasty things to them. You don't disrespect their appearance. You don't disrespect the way they speak, because it's impolite generally. And most of the peoples and societies of the world had a lot of codes of conduct about how to behave yourself in a polite society. So it's really amazing to see how the internet culture changed this so drastically over the past few years. And I was here when the internet started. Okay, so I got access to internet when I was 13 years old. It was slow. It was a dial-up, but I remember just feeling so intimidated by the fact that these people from other countries, they can read my words. So I have to be very, very careful about what I say, because I don't want to appear ignorant. And it's not about the honor of my country or my family. It's about my own dignity and my own honor. If I come off as rude, disrespectful, ignorant, that's bad. So it's always been so funny for me to observe how a lot of the people from the West don't have the same fear. Maybe they do, but they're really good at hiding it behind this individualist myth of being quirky and unique is better than being polite and respectful. And when I speak about being respectful, I don't mean respectability politics, right? I'm not talking about being nice in your manner and that's it. Being nice is a very American thing, which I've been exposed to when I started working with a lot of Americans. For me, just as it is for a lot of people all over the world, it's not just appearing nice that matters. It's actually acting nice. It is your behaviors and your deeds that should be the measure of your character, not just your words and your polite smile. And I remember always being very surprised by some of my American colleagues' behaviors when they would act very, very nicely to your face, but then be all stabby behind your back. And I've kind of gotten used to it over the years, because I spent 17 years surrounded by Americans, and that rubbed off on me, I suppose. And that made me even more distrustful and suspicious of others. And that is bad. Capitalism alienates us enough from each other, from the fruits of our labor, and from ourselves. We don't need any more help in being isolated from each other. So if you're able to connect with people from other countries, please do. And I'm always glad to see diversity in my comments when people from other countries outside of the United States comment and engage with me. And I've had some amazing conversations with people online. It's a very, very useful experience to connect with people, and not just on ideological mental plane of being. Also, when you observe people's lives, you get to learn so much about the way their economic conditions are, the way they influence their ideology, the way they influence their behavior, etc., etc. Obviously, people on the internet are not going to show you the depths of their despair and the most tragic moments. Some may, but the vast majority of the people want to appear a certain way online. They want to create this image, this persona that may be beneficial to them in one regard or another. Maybe it's good for their mental health. Maybe they're trying to earn money through appearing a certain way, etc., etc. But when you are able to observe many different people on the internet, you get a sense of what kind of life they may have in a certain country. So this really greatly helped me when obviously I talk to people from the United States on a daily basis at my job, but I also went on Reddit and I read a ton of threads, just read them. I did not interact with these people. I just read a page after page of Americans talking to each other, and then with YouTube and TikTok becoming prominent, I started watching a lot of American content creators, and I've got so much from just doing that. Of course, I understand that I'm not going to be able to fully grasp what it is like being an American in certain states, because a lived experience cannot be transferred through the World Wide Web, but it is still a very useful experience. When you see these people, when you see certain people on a daily basis, they become more human to you. So, and I think I talked a lot about dehumanization before. I referenced Fromm's Anatomy of Human Destructiveness when he talked about the American troops in Vietnam, and how there were specific directions and instructions and specific training provided for these American soldiers in order to dehumanize Vietnamese citizens and in order to view them as this faceless enemy. And this was very effective. And this indoctrination for these American soldiers, it did not start at the boot camp. It started earlier in their childhood. In the United States, as far as I gather from all these various sources, people have a much higher degree of indoctrination at school. And I'm telling you this because I read a lot of American textbooks. Being a teacher at an international institution, I had to teach some American textbooks. And when I looked at them, I was like, damn, you guys are being propagandized so heavily from such a young age. And I'm not saying everything is propaganda, but all of the things you're exposed to, they're not accidental. They're not created by some evil cabal of people who want to control your mind. It's just that ideology, the ideas that occur in a society, they do not occur accidentally. They occur according to the rules of the economic mode of production. Ideology is going to necessarily represent the economic relations of the people. So when your economic relations are based on exploitation, then your ideology is going to adjust. It's going to display values. It's going to justify, rationalize. It's going to create narratives surrounding that dominating economic force. This is inevitable. It is going to happen whether we like it or not, and the best course of action for an individual is to be aware of this and to continuously try to learn more about the world, continuously expanding one's opportunities for learning, one's empathy, etc., etc. And the world is not black and white. You're not going to see the perfect representation of Chinese people you're not going to see all the truth revealed. You will see the diversity of the peoples, just as I was able to see the diversity of the peoples in the United States. I met some amazing people. I met some comrades. I met people who really helped me change my perspective and really understand certain things. And I'm very grateful to these people. And you can learn from people from all over the world too. All of the people all throughout the world have amazing stories to tell. And remember, a few months ago, I mentioned O. Henry to you and how he believed that all people had interesting stories to tell. Every single individual had something insightful to share with you. There's no person small enough from whom you cannot learn. Obviously, with exceptions, there are some people who are so stuck in their bigotry that you'd rather not learn from them. But generally speaking, the internet gives us opportunities to connect to all people across the world, and we should be utilizing that opportunity. We should be seeking out more and more connections with people. We should be looking and learning and asking questions in good faith, and look for ways where we can connect and look for ways where we can help each other even at a distance. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you're going to join the Little Red Book. I'm probably not going to post too much there because I'm kind of shy and it's a little bit hard for me to start doing new things, even though I love being exposed to new things. But yeah, maybe I will post more content there. I'm not sure, but do subscribe to me there if you want to. Consider supporting me on Patreon. Do take care of yourself and your community first. And I hope you have a great day today, and I'll talk to you sometime later.